First start with introducing Jina AI. We are the search foundation model. So you know there are a lot of foundation models, and we create the foundation for search. Basically, everything AI related, you need to build your own search engine on your own custom data. And here are just some numbers so that you know roughly what I'm talking about. So we have a lot of tokens processed, not so many employees, but even more open source project than employees. So there's a lot of invention happening recently. Founded 2020. We have a lot of products, as you saw before, but I would like to show you the three most important ones. First, reader. It's useful in any kind of search engine. You want to start with getting some data, for instance, crawling some data from the internet. And you usually do this with some LLMs to process this data into your right format. But it turns out that reading just HTML pages is not something what LLMs perform well on. So they perform better on, for instance, Markdown format. And this reader is a tool you can use to create a Markdown format of that website. And then for all the LLM tasks that then perform on this website data, it will be much easier because it has a nice format. And then there are two other things, embeddings and Rerankers. And these you maybe know about embeddings. Fewer people know about Rerankers. This is basically AI for search. Not large language models, but models that are trained to perform really good on a search task. I'm here to tell you how you can build your own agentic search flow. And for this, I would like to give you a bit of a summary on where we came from, where the whole research field came from, the whole industry. So even like a couple of years ago, there was still the paradigm of keyword-based search engines. And then it went to semantic search, and now we enter the age of agentic search. And to show you what these three things mean, I prepared some slides. So here you can see, this is a typical keyword search where you have exact text matching. Maybe you cover some synonyms. So you have a search query, and in your documents you have in the database, you try to find all the documents where there is an exact text overlap, exact word matching. You can use even some synonyms to make this set of possible documents larger, and you also can handle misspelling, but you would never cover all the synonyms or not all the ways the user could type something incorrect. So we have, for instance, this query. So what is the best or your best budget smartphones 2025? It will also provide this document as an answer because semantically matching for the embedding model, this ID looks almost the same. It's just an ID. So semantically, it's a list of random numbers, basically. So we'll put these both very close to each other and we'll retrieve this document. It cannot differentiate so much about these things we care a lot about. So then the solution was, what about hybrid search? We combine the best of both worlds, and we can use the semantic search to get documents that are semantically equivalent, but still have identifiers defined, where some words that really have to match the query, the document from the query. So, and this also works great, but of course, we still see limitations. And one of the limitations is that shows this example. So for instance, you have the query comparison of Google Cloud and AWS pricing. Here, this document will be retrieved. It will be something like, here's an overview of all GCP and AWS offerings and costs. So it covers this, it's matching the query, but this document will just not exist. So there will be not one single document that contains all the information. So reality is different. In reality, all the information is scattered around the internet. Some information will be on the AWS side, some information will be on the Google Cloud side. Even on that page, it will be a different sub-pages. It's just not one query that can be answered by a single pass-through through the search engine. Instead, information is on multiple documents. So how to even determine what is the best document from a database for that query if it doesn't exist? If like all documents are the best one, because they all contain all this necessary information to give an answer to my query. AI agents. So now we are entering agentic search. What you can do now is you give this task to a search agent, and the agent will use whatever search system it has and try to do multiple iterations of search and proceed until it finds all the relevant information on different sources to then provide a final answer. And then it finds, for instance, even this piece of information. At AWS, we offer NVIDIA H100 for that price. There's no way with classic search engine, even semantic search, to match this document, because there's very little overlap between these queries. So I hope you make you very curious on how these AI agents actually work. And here I give you an illustration that is very common in this space. So when you see a talk, then often you see this kind of illustration where we have this friendly looking robot in the middle, and then there is a query coming from the user. In this case, the user is interested in the cheapest GPU with 80 gigabytes VRAM. That's it. User want to have the cheapest one. And now the agent is taking over the task. Instead of directly putting this in the search engine, the agent is getting this. And the agent, it has some tools. For instance, there's access to some search engines. Also at Jina, we also provide a search engine, search.jina AI, and will be also listed here. But it has also others like Brave, Perplexity, and so on. And now the agent, it takes this very specific query, but this directly in search engines. What it does instead is it creates a list of a short list or a bit longer maybe of search queries where it knows these search queries perform good on these search engines. And then, for instance, for this query, it creates NVIDIA A100, 80 gigabyte, and then pricing. But it also creates some other search queries. And then it waits for the results we get from the search engines. And then it decides, maybe it already knows the answers. Maybe this was sufficient information. It already found something that is so cheap, it thinks that it won't find something cheaper. And it returns the final response. But maybe it finds something very expensive. It thinks it's expensive. And it goes into another iteration, thinking again about new search terms. It can feed into these engines and then get proper search results. And it goes until at some point it thinks it can output a final response. So what I would like you to do now is to think about what is this magical component in the middle, this friendly looking robot. Because we have a lot of slides in presentations where these robots show up. And then as long as you look at this slide, everything makes sense. But then when you get asked, what is this actually? How would you even implement it? Then it sometimes feels like a bit difficult to answer. And what I would like to focus on is now three things. So a prompt, an LLM, and a loop. So loop, piece of code. And it's really just these three things when you develop something and you have already your processor, your machine, what you need to create such thing I illustrated here. So not much. And therefore it's not surprising that many people build these open source frameworks.